Hi, everyone. There's so much discussion in all the expat groups about how do you find the right builder. And there's just so many ways that you can go to select the right person. But really, it comes down to these particular 10 items that I put together. So I wanted to go over them with you. Um, the first thing to do is obviously ask the person about the active projects that they may have going on. Um, they say that a builder who has a lot of time on their hand may indicate the fact that they have a lot of time to do your project is because they're not a very good builder. And so take a look at what active projects they have going on, because the best time to inspect a builder's quality is not when he's putting the finishing touches on a structure. It's actually when the building is in the shell stage of construction, meaning that they are um, forming foundation, walls, putting in electrical, plumbing, and roof trusses. That's the best time, I think, to see someone's workmanship before they start closing it up. Now, number two, did he show past finished projects? You got to ask yourself, the best people to talk to are past customers, right? Is he willing to show you projects that he's finished? Really good builders are very proud of their work. Um, and so they're more than happy to show you and introduce you to past customers, which is like the number three on this list. Um, and and so when you reach number four here, you're checking the quality of the materials he's used. Um, you want to look to see whether or not he's providing quality materials. If he's the one buying the materials, then you want to see who made the selection. You want to ask who made the selection on the materials and take a look at the quality. Um, and then number five, meet with the suppliers. You'd be surprised how many times you could have a conversation with a supplier, and suppliers will either, like the builder and have a good working relationship with them, or maybe they tolerate him, but he's a slow bill payer. That could tell you a lot about their financial status for the builder or contractor. So meeting the suppliers is very interesting. Number six is about, does he understand different building methodologies? Now, we know that in the Philippines, hollow block is the mainstay for most builders, but I'm not a fan of hollow block. I'm a fan of reinforced concrete, you know, poured monolithically. That's what I've always pushed, probably because that's what I'm used to the most. Um, but keep in mind that you have different methods of building with the AAC block. Some people are doing some precast, and what's really coming to be more popular these days is steel stud framing, or steel stud construction, is what we call it. Um, that's become important methodology in the United States. And here in the Philippines, the market seems to be really increasing for that type of construction. You see it in a lot of the new McDonald's and other commercial buildings, and now it's making its way into the residential market. So the question is, hey, what other methods has he built with in the past? It shows, what his skill sets are, if he's comfortable doing other things besides standard um, hollow block. And, you know, if you're having an architect design a house for you, the reality is that if the architect's not involved in the build process and you're hiring a separate builder contractor, then you want to make sure that they have the ability to build the design that you like, the design that you've approved through the architect. And so it's interesting to sit in a room and watch, a building architect, a building engineer, and the contractor come together, and hopefully they'll be able to communicate on a level where they can execute a construction design and build effectively. So when you select your builder, you want to know that he can work together with other people and execute that particular design. So yeah, the skills are very important on that number 6. Number 7, what portions of the project will be subcontracted? Most people will actually have an outside plumber, or they'll have a separate electrician. So it's interesting to see how long they've worked together on projects, how many other projects they've worked or built together. But you want to find out what parts of the project are going to be subcontracted out. So number 8 is the builder trained, or does he understand the building codes in the Philippines, the national building codes? Now, what's interesting is the national building codes in the Philippines have not been kept up to date like the international building codes has. So in the Philippines, a lot of people say that they're kind of behind the times because they have not updated them in quite some time, but they're getting ready to do it. So even if you follow the national building code in the Philippines, you may want to consider looking at other codes that are more modern or updated. And there are international building codes. Number 9 is important because, does the builder use any type of management software? How do they manage these particular projects? How do they manage the construction project overall? I listed a couple pieces of software that are really American-based software, but they're very impressive pieces of software that tracks all phases of construction and budget. When you're signing or putting together a contract, you want to make sure that your project budget, including your man hours, are listed in the different types of payment schedules that are expected in this contract are in there, and that really ties into the overall management. I mean, are you talking about having some guy do construction, and then you don't have clear milestones of when you're supposed to pay them and what's supposed to get done? I think that miscommunication is the start of a headache. So when you have that clearly documented, signed in part of the contract, it's it's basically a scheduled payment, and what is expected at each payment is very important, and that ties into the overall management of the project. So find out whether or not they're using software, how they manage particularly this particular project, and how many other projects they have ongoing, because the common story is that people will, contractors and builders will take on a project, and then they're not good at time management. Next thing you know, they're putting your project on the back burner. You'll hear that quite a bit from other expats, and just people overall will run into that. And that's not just the Philippines thing. That's actually anywhere in a construction project. You want to know how someone has put in project management into their overall company. And number 10, does the builder reinvest in his company? I mean, is he driving old trucks and using junky equipment? That's really, unfortunately, a lot of single family home builders in the Philippines. They're not reinvesting in their company and buying modern equipment to effectively execute what their livelihood requires, which is a fast build, that can be enabled better with higher quality equipment. So it says a lot about a construction company when they have some of the best pieces of equipment. And people could say, oh, it's the Philippines, they're going to save money. Well, that's fine. But if they're in the business of building homes on a regular basis, smart builders are going to invest in the equipment that helps their finished product and also help them, get the project done more efficiently. So it goes to mindset. Anyways, take a look at this list. I hope this is very handy for a lot of people. And if you have any questions, just put them in the comments and then we'll improve on it. Okay?